Charles Campbell, hoopdfw.com. I'm here with Brandon Jenkins of 24/7 Sports. Look at his face. Ani Umana,
What's
Five
good?
State Hoop Report. Monday morning, man, right after the Noble Classic this weekend and the Jake Paul versus Geriatric Tyson fight. Yeah. How are you guys?
Oh man, that fight was awful for one. We'll get to that. But everything's been good, man. Just had to relax after this weekend was a long weekend, but now I'm refreshed. I got some sleep, so I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, y'all did a good job. You and Jay did an excellent job with the Noble Classic, especially with it being the first year. Y'all did an amazing job. It was really good. Brandon, why are you looking like that? What's the face for?
Right.
And then I'm just recapping the eventful weekend.
Yeah,
Everything playing into
right.
my mind. I'm trying to figure out how to organize my thoughts. But yeah, piggybacking off of what you said, Ani and Jay did their thing. You know, you know what I loved? How the rosters were presented on
Yeah, that was cool.
the projector.
That was cool. Shout out
Hey,
to the Colony. The Colony has an amazing facility.
Brand new.
I don't even think we can call it. No, that's an arena, a mini
that's an
arena,
arena. Yeah.
high school arena. Yeah, they have an excellent facility, high school arena. The multimedia, like you said, on the screens, plenty of locker room space to do interviews, all that type stuff. And no, overall, it was just a great event. Hospitality room was solid. You know, shout out to all the sponsors, people supporting. It was cool. Tons of coaches, tons of basketball coaches. We saw TCU, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Southern Illinois, Oklahoma State. Who
Yeah.
else, Ani? Who else did you guys have, Ani?
Yeah. That was about it. Yeah, TCU came yesterday, last
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
They
North
came in
Texas. I'm sorry. Shout out Phil Forte.
UNT.
We saw
Shout
North
out to
Texas.
Phil.
Yeah,
He
Jeremy
always
Bullock, UTA.
yeah.
Yeah,
UTA.
Jeremy was there. He was there.
Yeah.
Oh, Jake White, Sam Houston. He laid in the
Sam
cut 9
Houston
He
a.m.
was there.
was?
Louisville.
Yeah, he was there at 9 a.m. on Saturday while James
That's why
Sanders.
he ain't catch me. Shoot.
Yeah, that's too early for you. You know, you wait.
That's why
Yeah,
he ain't catch me.
he was just laying down just a couple hours ago. He was
Right, right, right.
And then Louisville was in the house too.
Yeah, Ronnie was.
Oh, yeah,
He laid in
Ronnie.
the cut too. He
Yeah,
was in the
yeah.
stands, high over the stands.
Stealth
He
mode.
was hiding. He sure was hiding. He was definitely
Yeah.
hiding. But no, it was a great event, a great turnout, a lot of coaches in the building, and some really good performances. But before we get into all of that, Tyson, man, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I'm 40.
Man, listen,
I'm
let me
40. I
tell
just
you.
turned 40. I can't imagine at 60 doing anything with a 25-year-old. I just 26. However old Jake Paul is, I can't even imagine doing it. But you were there, and you were in the suite. Honey, break it down for us.
Yeah, shout out to Tiffany Brian Johnson, hooked her brother up. You know what I mean? Shout out to them. Oh man, that fight was awful. The two women that fought, that fight was the worst fight I've seen a day in my life. I really listen. Let me tell y'all something. I was ready to just put a $500 wager out there outside after the fight for two people just to fight for $500, and I felt like that would have been better than the shit I saw.
It was bad. It
In
was
the ring.
bad. Watching my dude Tyson bite his gloves. Why were you biting? I want to know the explanation. I don't know. But is it out there yet? Why was he biting his gloves like that?
He says that's just a habit he has.
I ain't never. I've watched almost every fight of his since I was 5 years old till his last fight in 2005. I've never seen him do that before. When did that become a habit?
I don't know. Maybe in his training, he just felt like he needed to bite his gloves. I don't know because I went back when he said that. I went back to some previous fights. I'm like, this was just a new habit. Like this not a.
I've never seen him do it.
But Mike, I mean, I'm not mad at how he fought. I mean, he's like damn near 60.
Yeah.
Fighting a 27-year-old. Like,
right.
Jake Paul should be embarrassed for fighting him. I get his pay. I get you get a pay.
I was gonna say it was payday.
But man, I'll say this: you made your money, but you can't do this again. Now, this is who I think his next opponent will be. If y'all can see this, you can't. Dang it!
Tilted forward just a little bit, like tilted down.
Forward.
No,
right
we can't.
here.
We can't.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's Homer Simpson's dad. That's who he should fight next because this is. I mean, you just want to keep fighting old people or like non-real boxers. I mean, it's a novelty act. I just thought it was bad. I mean, the suite was nice. You know, there was good food, good drinks, like all that. I mean, that was the best part of the night. But
what was the atmosphere like in AT&T? Was it like
oh,
were
it
people
was hype.
were people really taking it like legit, or was it just like kind of like, oh, we're here, it's just something to watch, like, or were they really invested
I
in it?
think people really were. I think people they were really ready to see Mike Tyson beat Jake Paul, like knock him out. And
I didn't think that.
because Mike
I didn't
Tyson
think that.
threw like 5 punches the whole fight, each round it was just like Mike knock his ass out, like knock him out. Like he never did. Like, but shout out to Mike Tyson. He got a payday. Shout out to Jake Paul. You got your
Man,
payday. You
they got
fooled people.
super paid.
You fooled a lot of people, and I ain't mad at y'all. You fooled me. Well, I didn't pay for mine, but like you
Yeah,
still fooled me because
yeah.
that's 3 hours out of my life.
I saw some of the prelims. It was okay. The girls fight was probably more eventful than the Tyson
That
one.
was fun.
Yeah, and then I guess they picked the wrong winner. They said,
Yeah, they did.
even though the girl who lost, her face was really tore up. It was tore up. She looked like she had been beaten up real bad.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I thought it was close. I mean, I didn't think like she should have just was no brainer to win her. And I thought the
Yeah,
other girl like she would. I mean, I thought it was close. It could have gone either way on that one.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
didn't think.
Noble Classic. I was there on Friday, back in the office on Saturday, so I watched it from from my phone. But the first game, we had some really interesting conversations that first game. But talk about the first game between the two highly touted prospects.
Yeah, the first game was Melissa versus the Colony. I thought Austin Gooseby. I was well before I get to that. Austin Gooseby and Melissa. 226 prospect, like a top 30-ish player in the country. Dakari Spear at the Colony, same thing. Same class, same level. And man, like Austin Guzzi went at him early.
Sure did.
They guarded each other, which was fun. Austin was just making really like deep threes, pull-up jumpers. His pull-up game is real smooth. And I just thought he was just assertive and aggressive from the jump. The Colony has more depth, even though they don't have Xavier Green, who's more kind of manages the show.
Yeah.
And but Dakari, I thought got it going more in the second half. He just started his jumper wasn't falling, so he got more shots in the paint and started getting a rhythm. And I just think that, and Bryce Dixon was huge for the Colony as far as
Bryce Dixon was good. He was good.
He had 21 points. He played within the flow of everything. I didn't think he forced a lot of shots. And usually sometimes with him, I really like Bryce, but I do think like sometimes in big games, he likes to take really, really tough shots, especially early on. I didn't think he did that. I think he just took what came with him. But Austin was really hot in the first half. I thought in the second half he wasn't as like shots didn't in the second half, but I thought defensively he made plays. I thought he deflected passes, altered and blocked shots. I thought he sprinted back. Like if he made a mistake offensively, he sprinted back. The one thing with Austin, I felt like in the past with him is that he can kind of fade away in games, especially in the second half. And when he got tired, I didn't see that nowhere near as much as I've seen that in the past, which was a good thing. But I thought Dakari just kept like going. He kept going. If it was just rebounding or getting shots in the paint or just posting up or just really defending and getting a stop, Dakari is one of those guys that he just impacts winning in so many other ways. And that's what I really like about him. Even though Austin's, I think box score stats are probably better than Dakari. I thought it was kind of a tie in that situation. I thought Austin really had the first half, second half. I'd give more to Dakari.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Brandon, what you think?
I think, I look at Dakari as one of the more consistently productive guards in his class nationally.
Yeah.
And I think he took advantage of him having that depth that Ani was talking about, having those teammates. Melissa isn't as deep. They don't have the talent that the Colony has, and that showed at the end. And, Dakari playing out of position with Xavier Green out, he still found a way to play the right way, get his teammates involved. And at the end, that's why you seem to score the way that it was. Although, if you were looking at the full game, obviously Austin came out hot, hitting deep jumpers, playing off the bounce, showcasing his athleticism and his talent on the defensive end. If you get that glimpse of it, you see why Austin is the better long-term prospect and Dakari is the more translatable prospect when it comes to consistent production and how he does it playing on and off the ball.
Yeah, I think Trey Edwards is giving,
Yes.
He's giving Austin some help. But you see a lot of young mistakes, a lot of freshman mistakes, and maybe a little bit of, kind of a little bit of frustration on, I haven't got my shot off, I haven't scored. So sometimes it seems like he can force things a little bit, but he showed really good flashes. He showed flashes of really being a really good prospect. I think we haven't solidified who the number one freshman in the state is yet, though. I don't think we
No, I think
I
that's
don't
wide
think I
open.
don't I don't think we I think that's still wide open, very much wide open. And I get social media has a lot to say about it, but from the perspective that we're watching, I don't think so. I don't think he's done enough yet to say, oh, he's number one. But most of his buckets came towards the end of the game there. He had those flurries, he had those two dunks back to back, kind of played through some contact. But yeah. I think the
Yeah,
And
colony
you gotta, I forgot, you got to mention Thor Grisham of the
yeah,
Colony. He's
yeah.
somebody that kind of broke that game open just with making open threes. And
yeah.
he's been serving that role for them for a few years now. So, I think that's somebody who could shoot it with size who will probably get recruited and signed to a school late.
Is it possible that we have two Burger Boys in the same kind of position, style, kind of in Gooseby and Spear? Is it possible?
That class isn't great with depth,
Yeah.
226, so there's potential. I don't know if that'll happen, but it could potentially. It could
Summer
potentially. It,
teammates.
yeah. Yeah, summer teammates. Depends how the rest of the season goes in the spring.
Yeah.
But like the 226 class is a solid class, but it's not rich with like a lot of talent. So
Yeah.
like as far as like Burger Boy talent. So
Yeah.
I think they'll have the opportunity. I don't know if it happens, but they'll definitely have the opportunity. And also Melissa Cone LaCour is a freshman, comes off the bench. I think
Yeah.
he does. I mean, just gives Melissa something. I think just Melissa's depth really hurt him. I think this weekend you kind of saw that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I can see that. I can
It
see
just
that.
really
Their
hurts him.
depth. And I will also say, as much as I like them, the spacing. The spacing was kind of weird this weekend. Um, Gooseby looked like he was trying to get to the paint and maybe just kind of ran into some of his own teammates.
Right. Yeah.
But I think, some of these early losses, some of these early challenges will serve them well long term, and it'll help Gooseby understand how he can really, how much he has to do and how he has to impact winning for them to be successful for sure.
I think that only helps him out long term. And
Yeah.
back to the McDonald's case, I think if we see them two team up together and have an impactful grassroots season to the point where they can make a deep run in Peach Jam, you have to take advantage of the opportunities to win. And if they can do it in a loud fashion, I think we can see the momentum work in their favor.
Yeah, and that's what I say. I know you know, we can just throw the rankings out. Everybody has beaten everybody, lost. I mean, we'll
Yeah.
get to that. We'll get to some of those losses of our, especially of our number one team that we had. But it seems like there's a lot of parity this year. It seems like it's kind of even. Teams that you don't expect to beat certain teams, they're beating them. Teams that you expect to, kind of get blown out, they're in games and they're staying right there. So it's been an exciting early season so far. Um, pretty much. But second game, Louisville, Cedar Hill. Cedar Hill is kind of on the downswing in terms of talent wise. They're not the Cedar Hill of old that we know, especially not BT Cedar Hill. But I think they can turn the corner for sure. They're in that sector of Dallas to where there's plenty of talent, and it's early in the season, but they do have an uphill battle. But Louisville was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Louisville
mean, they
has.
had. Oh, you go ahead, Lonnie.
No, it was all good. Louisville, I mean, that game and then the game the next day, I thought, Louisville got depth. They're young. They have three freshmen in Jack Sharon, Nehemiah Davis, and Xavier Young, who provide like just quality like minutes and like just production
Yeah,
when they're out there. I just think Louisville has some good depth. They're well coached. They had the old coach from Irvin MacArthur who had
yeah,
Andrew
Toby Martin.
Jones. So
Yep,
yeah, so I think they'll be good. I don't know how. It'll be interesting what the playoff run could potentially look like.
yeah.
Um, but I think if they keep that core like freshman group together, and so they still have some 26s, I think they can make a run, like a big run next year. They're a team to watch. Like I think next year, really, as far as like
Next year for sure, but over next 2 seasons, I think they'll be right there at the top.
yeah,
I honestly think they have some tools to make some noise, some serious noise this year. Just because I like the way that Nehemiah Davis came into the game and really,
Yes,
usually people provide a spark offensively, but he looked to do it defensively.
he did.
And that kind of made made me excited about what he can become long term. He came in, he guarded the inbounder and really forced a lot of turnovers in the backcourt, scored through contact offensively. And he really like amped his team up, scored a lot of momentum shifting buckets at the rim, and he's strong. And we've seen him do it playing off the ball. And we've seen him at Pangos, and he did a lot on the ball. And I like his talent level in that setting. And so I'm just really interested in following what he can become, what role he serves for this year's team, and how he evolves moving forward. Because I think there's a lot to like with his talent level and upside.
He surprised me. He didn't really play like a freshman. It didn't seem like he was shot hunting. It didn't seem like he didn't make a lot of mistakes. But like he came in right off the bat that first game defensively, and then I think it was what 3 steals in a row, layups, finishes through contact. Tough. He doesn't play like he's a freshman in high school at all. And I talked to Coach Martin afterward, and I asked him. I was like, hey, you had Andrew Jones. Where does he compare in that? And he's like, Nehemiah's a dude. He wouldn't say he was Andrew Jones. Now he wouldn't say that, but he did say that he feels very very highly about Nehemiah Davis's game, and I mean we got this is the first year. We have 3 more years of this.
Right.
So he has a real shot, real chance. And word on the street is, that number one freshman in Texas thing is everybody wants to make their case.
Right, and then you got like in Houston, you got those JL3 kids like Stacey Ogman's nephew, and then Abraham Moore, Anthony Keefe. Like, I mean, it's 28s to me in Texas is like that could be the next really really good class we have. I think there's a lot of depth in the state. Period. I'm excited to kind of see how they grow.
Xavier Young, trimmed down, slimmed down,
Mm-hmm.
came in with a new body, and we had just saw him at Pangos. What was that? Early October.
Early October, even in the summer with 99 overall, he's moving better. Like especially when you talk about like with the lost weight, probably just losing some baby fat. He's getting off the ground a little bit quicker. I think he has the ability to like be able to stretch the floor out down the road. I don't know if it's something that he can do at like a high level varsity game yet, but he has some tools. I wanted like bigs develop late, like we all know. I think we'll start to really see what he can be by like late junior, senior year. Of what he is, but he's interesting. He's a very interesting player.
Very much so. Very much so. Third game we had Argyle and St. John's out of Houston.
Yeah, that was kind of a blowout. I won't want to say complete blowout, but like Argyle, Francis Chukudubelu came back. He's been hurt. That was his first game back. Argyle has Cash Polk. I thought St. John's doesn't have great depth, but they have 2 high major like forwards and Sebastian Williams Adams and Malachi Booker. And they got the big kid Emmanuel, who's a freshman that's going to be really good down the road. So St. John's just like the guard play, I think this kind of really was struggling because Sebastian and Malachi have to do so much in breaking the ball up, really providing up most of the points, rebounding, like playing multiple positions. And they can't really sit out the whole game. I think Argyle took advantage of that. Cash Polk was good. I thought Francis was good early, even on minute restrictions, just posting up and scoring. I think Cash provides a lot of like stuff like on the glass, rebounding and transition finishing. So I just think Argyle, they were just click well. I think Francis, he was committed to Santa Clara. I like when he's like inside and he's finishing and he's doing post ups. I know he can make threes from time to time, but like when he's really just in the post and just using his size to like alter shots or just finish around the rim, I think that Argyle team is like sneaky dangerous. Like I think they're sneaky. And they got that point guard. I mean, I don't know his name, but he's someone that will average like 15 to 18 a game.
Right.
Like, just getting to the rim, making shots. He's tough. He's strong, so he can really guard on ball well. So that Argyle team, I like them a lot. They're a very interesting team.
They are. Brandon, 24/7 Sports. Did you have Sebastian going to Auburn?
Yeah, they were they were perceived as the leader. I know Vanderbilt and Oklahoma State were in the gym trying to shake things up, but at the end of the day, Bruce Pearl. Bruce Pearl wins out, and I think he's an interesting fit for them just from a physical perspective. I think when I look at Sebastian play, he steps out on the floor. He's 6'8", he's 215, 220. He could rebound, get downhill, and pass the ball. He has a lot of these tools that will make him a connector in the SEC. And so from the physicality perspective, I think he's somebody who can, mix it up in the lane, compete for rebounds, throw outlet passes, and just be somebody from day one who can impact winning with his motor and feel for getting his teammates involved.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, Sebastian gave us hell. Like we played him. My group did. Tech Storm did the next day. He gave us hell. I mean, he's just strong. He's athletic. He has feel. He's one of those guys. He's just a jumper away to kind of really open his game up more. But he's a problem, especially in transition on the glass. He knows how to really pass. He just gets a lot done. It took a game-winning shot for us to get out of there. But he's good. I can see him really fit well with Bruce Pearl just because he just plays so damn hard all the time.
He's a nightmare downhill though. He is a nightmare when he decides he wants to get to the rim because it's either a bucket or a trip to the free throw line.
And he has good speed for that size when he does attack.
He does.
He can attack left and right. It's not like, you force him left. He just gets shaky with it. And he can navigate in tight spaces. Like when guys are trying to set charges, he knows kind of how to slow himself down, Euro step around it, or jump stop, play off 2 feet. So he does a good job.
Yeah. Argyle. First of all, Cash Polk, what's going on with his recruiting? I know I was there. Some coaches were asking me, and they were like, where are we at with him? Are you guys aware or what?
Yeah, I heard there was 2 high majors he could go on visits with and 2 mid majors. This is what I heard, so this is not factual. I heard Arizona. I heard Oklahoma State.
Okay.
2 mid majors. I forgot what I heard, but it's kind of up in the air right now. A little bit. I think a decision will be made. I would say next couple of weeks. My opinion, I feel like there will be, but I think he's starting to kind of like, okay, where do I want to visit? Who do I like? Who do I want to sign to?
Is Cash Polk a Big 12 caliber player? Do you think so? On the fly. I know.
As a freshman, no. As a freshman, no. I'll say that to be able to play at that level right away, you got to be really, really good. I'm not saying Cash is not really good, but he's someone that, in my opinion, if he went down a level and a half, and it's still tough to play in those leagues, but he gives himself a better opportunity to play. I just think this is my opinion, Brandon. You can speak on this if you want. I think guys, if you're not like this 4 or 5 star guy and you make a commitment in December or January, it's just such a tough long end battle you got to face just to get playing time as a freshman. You know what I mean? Like, I just think you're already kind of pegged in like a 15 scholarship or last scholarship position, and you got to fight your way so much. And it's done before, but if he really wants to play right away, I think go mid major. But I think he's a high major talent. I just don't know if he can play right away.
Yeah. Brandon, what's your perspective?
Okay, so I can see this thing going 2 ways. All right, so yes, he is talented because he has positional size. He's able to shoot the basketball, and he has came up in the game. And when I mean come up in the game, he's played against high-level competition throughout the majority of his life. Shout out to his parents for putting him in positions where he can get the bump that he needs to be, the player that he is today. And so when you look at him as a talent, yes, Ani is correct. He is a Big 12 talent, but you have to go somewhere where you play right away if you're focused on basketball. Right. And so, you look at the mid-major schools that'll get you on the court early so you can benefit, get thrown into the fire, and then hopefully move up to the level that you want to play at. But if you do want to go straight high major, then we need to look at things from a different perspective, because at the end of the day, you're not going to play. These schools are, hitting the transfer portal, hitting, high school kids, those 4 and 5 star guys that we talk about, dudes that can impact winning and can get in the rotation as soon as they step on campus. Those are the players that coaches are looking for at the high school realm. So you're not going to play. So if you look at it from that realm and, you have the connections, you have the background, if you're going high major, use that to monetize in what you would want to do off the court long term. So we're talking about a kid who's 6'9", good looking, very marketable dude. I think that there's a lot of, places where he could choose from that can actually bring positivity to life in this world. I think, it's not just basketball with him. If he goes high major, he has a lot of access to different resources that he can tap into to actually be somebody. But if basketball is the route that he is looking to take seriously, he probably does need to go to a lower level so he can get those minutes early and, gain some confidence and then be ready to play at the level that he would want to.
And it's not easy to play at those levels. Like, I was in South Dakota, and I'm gonna go watch UNT and McNeese. I'm gonna drive up to Lake Charles today to watch UNT and McNeese, and I was in South Dakota watching the Field 68 showcase. I mean, it's not easy playing at those levels, but I do feel like if he wants to have the chance to play right away, he's gonna have to go. He's gonna have to go mid-major.
For a quick second, talk about, and this is a total detour, but I think it's really important where we are in this conversation, especially helping parents, kids, even grassroots coaches, because sometimes I feel like grassroots coaches don't get it either in terms of levels of play, coming in, playing at the high major, mid-major, low major level. Talk about, you said it is very difficult to play at those levels. Talk about, the Southland Conference. You got, help me out here, off the top of my head, just some of the smaller conferences that recruit. What is that?
You got the WAC. You got
the WAC. You have Southland. You have Conference USA. You have some of these smaller levels, but the level of player basketball is still very, very high.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just those leagues. The difference in those, because college basketball is how it is now, especially with the portal, where these low to mid majors are getting high major transfer guys, right? Or they're just getting older, right? Especially, when we had the COVID rules and all that, it's getting older guys. It's really just a matter of depth, really, sometimes in just the front court between a mid and a high major team, or a low to mid plus or low to high. Just really just depth. But the talent, there's not a lot of disparity. Obviously, a top, a Kansas compared to maybe a UNT. Yes, obviously there's a big difference, but normally there's not much of a difference. So when I say it's really hard to play there, you're still you can go to McNeese. They still have guys that transfer down from high major schools, right?
Exactly.
Lamar still will have a guy that was probably a really good player in the mid major, but got hurt, didn't play the following year, and now he's here and he's 100%. And now you're playing against a mid plus level all conference guy in the Southland, or SFA. They'll get high major transfer guys. I think Chris Johnson was there. Is he still there? Correct. From Texas. I mean, these are 4-5-star guys that were at a place, and then they're portaling down, and then guys miss. There's only so many scholarships. So a kid that probably should have been ranked higher. Shout out to Brandon. No, I'm playing. But a kid that was probably ranked higher, or just a kid that maybe bloomed late, and then the only offer they have is La Tech, and they go to La Tech, and then it's oh shit, how did we all miss on that?
Right.
That stuff happens. Look at the kid at Monmouth, Bashir from Omaha, Nebraska. He's a monster. But I think he had to do 2 years of JUCO first. Then he comes in and he's dropping 30 on who was that? Who was that who dropped 30? It was Kentucky or Duke, or who did Mommy play?
I can't remember who it was.
I forgot.
I went across those highlights though. I didn't watch it, but
but guys like him, for example, it's just whoa, where did he come from? So again, Mama's not a high major program, but you got to go against him.
You got to play. Yeah.
It's not easy. It's just not easy.
I mean, Brandon, you're at 24/7 Sports, and you can kind of, Ani does a great job regionally. He does some national work. I'm obviously the Dallas guy, so I'm here. But you're more so on the national landscape in terms of, the recruiting aspect. And you're all over it. So, someone with the talent level of Cash Pope, that you can see it, you can see the high major talent as far as coming in and making an impact immediately, or the ability to play through mistakes. I think that's one of the more important parts of it as a freshman as well. Coming in, playing through mistakes, learning the game while you're on it versus just sitting on the bench the whole season or redshirting your, whatever. How does that play into you guys' 1 through 100 makeup? What are you seeing?
Absolutely. Well, as you know, kids are starting to commit. It's the season of commitments, and I think most of these nationally ranked kids are starting to get off the board. And one of the things that we take, and I've been very vocal with this, one of the things that we have to take in our evaluations is the decisions that these kids are making. Like if they're going to a lower level school where they'll play right away, we usually see those kids, develop and turn into dudes who potentially could be NBA prospects or even All-American candidates. You know what I mean? Versus a dude who, chooses like a winning high major program, but has to wait things out. And I'm not saying that they're stalling their development, because that just really depends on the coach and the school. But at the same time, you do get better. Your confidence does get higher when you're on the floor playing meaningful minutes on the bright lights and on the bright stage. So it does play a part, because at the end of the day, if they're on the floor and they're producing, it looks good. It looks like we were on track to have a great evaluation, and it looks like we know what we're talking about. But at the end of the day, we do see cases like, for instance, Jamal Shed is on my mind. A dude who commits to a winning Houston program, has to play behind Ike Giroux, hopefully I'm saying his name right, and has to wait his turn, and then eventually becomes the dude who, makes them a Final Four contender by the time he's an upperclassman, and then he turns into a draft pick. So everybody's journey is different. But we do look at the fact that we do look at the kids who have the best chance of playing right away, because these days it's like 1 or 2 years, or and if it doesn't work out, they'll hit the portal.
They're done. I mean? Yeah, you're done. And talking to some of the coaches that were courtside, trying to figure out what was their mix. Like, how much do you recruit the transfer portal? How much do you recruit high school basketball prospects? Coaches are still recruiting high school, but like you said, they're recruiting high school players that are going to come in and do something immediately. Whereas before, those high school kids that were coming in and then, like you said, have a 1 or 2 year development plan, I don't know. I don't see as many coaches really recruiting that per se. It's easier to get a kid out of the portal who may have gone to a North Texas per se, show that he can produce, and then boom, now he's at say an Oklahoma State or a TCU or something like that. But it's interesting to watch and something to keep an eye on. But I just wanted to kind of segue off for a second, just for parents to understand. Parents, this isn't the landscape of college basketball recruiting that it was 10 years ago. Not even 5 years. Not even 5 years ago. I disappeared in towards the beginning and end of beginning and middle of 2018. So here I am 6 years later, and it's like it's a whole different world. It's almost like a completely different world. Whereas, an event like the Noble Classic, you would see 30, 40 coaches there. We have a handful, 10, 15 coaches that are there, and they're there for a reason. But, that recruiting process is just so much different. But to the game of the day, and the game that shocked me, I'm gonna put it out there. Me and Brandon, we talked about it before it happened. I said Dynamic by 10. I said Dynamic was going to beat Allen by 10. And I had date night with the wifey. So I left, but I was watching it. I was at date night with my phone on the side.
Hey, I be doing that.
Hey, man, listen, but Allen beats Dynamic. How does Allen beat Dynamic Prep?
Oh, I had Dynamic by 15.
Thank you for saying that. You sure did.
And I had Dynamic by 10. I was like you, Charles.
I had Dynamic by 15.
But I had Dynamic by 10, and I would say this. I had the late switch of Dynamic by 4. After I saw that Amari Reed was not going to be, he left, and I guess he's going back. I think he's going back to Lancaster.
Whoa. Wait, what?
Amari Reed, I heard rumor time.
Rumor right here.
I heard he's going back to Lancaster, so he's not there with Dynamic anymore. So I felt like that because I think Jaden plays really well with another big. When there's another, especially athletic big that can block shots, rebounds, finish above the rim. So when that wasn't the case, I was like, oh, this game may be closer than we thought. And obviously, Dynamic, their point guard play, obviously many guys bring the ball up the floor, but one thing about Allen, they defend their ass off. So I had Dynamic by 10, and then I made the last switch. I said, okay, it's going to be like a 1 to 2 possession game. We were all wrong.
But you still had Dynamic winning.
I still had Dynamic winning. I just thought it was going to be way tougher of a battle without Amari.
Yeah. Coach Sip at Allen is doing his damn thing right now. I mean, they are a unit. They come at you, all 5 of them, not 1 or 2. They're all ready to play. They defend. They look for the open shooters. They get to the paint. They're making extra passes. And they seem to just make some of those winning plays. Who was that caught it off the rim for the putback dunk in between 2 Dynamic defenders? That was one of the twins, wasn't it?
Yes, I believe that was one of the twins.
I'm
Just
sorry.
management.
I'm
It
sorry. I
probably was
can't.
Tony. Probably was Tonio. Tonio had a really good week. Both of them
Yeah.
had a great weekend, but Tonio like opened my eyes with some of the stuff that he was doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially the shot making, just making shot like
I mean,
yeah.
and the arms are long. I mean, he just connects. But you know, I knew coming into the game that Allen was a unit. I was just under the impression that man, like those kids, the dynamic kids have been together, and the Allen kids have been together as well. But those dynamic
Yeah.
kids have been playing on the national stage. The goal is to make it to Chipotle Nationals.
That's what they want. Yeah.
Like I'm thinking that I'm just expecting their mentality is to come in like, hey, we cannot lose to anything local.
Yeah.
Right,
Anything local,
right.
we cannot lose. So we don't have time. If they punch us in the throat first, we don't have time. Like, let's shake it off. Like, let's get back. And what I saw was some of the things that I seen from those kids as sophomores, like them kind of getting more quiet, being more passive to make big plays. Now they ended up responding, but it took a minute to get to that level of response that I was looking for. And
Yeah.
if they played with that same sense of urgency as soon as Allen, because Allen jumped out the gate.
They
And
did.
so if they played with that same sense of urgency in the first quarter, I think the game would have came out different. And also the game was too fast for them to get Toombs involved as much as I think that they would want to. And, Charles, me and you were talking about how he would be the problem for Allen. And
Yeah.
he wasn't non-existent because his presence alone makes a difference. At the same time, I was expecting him to make more of an impact, and just seemed like the speed of the game kind of canceled him out in that regard.
Yeah, I think it's hard to kind of get Toombs involved when there's not like a real true point guard, to be honest with you. Like feeding into the post, obviously Allen was double teaming. I thought DJ Thomas, UNT committed or signee, did a really good job just being physical with him, making him have to work to get position in the post. But I think it's hard to get Toombs in that game when you don't have a true PG to control the pace. You know what I mean? Like last year's team, I thought dynamic, just us playing against them. I thought Jalen Washington just gave me hell. And he could only have scored 6 points, but you couldn't rush him. You know what I mean? Like they got into their sets because of him. There's nobody right now that really does that. And Allen, who defends their ass off, and they're so physical, and the rest really let them play. They really, really let them play.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they didn't call a foul.
They didn't call a foul at all. Shit, it was no fouls called. Which
I think that actually had an impact on the game. They didn't call a foul.
They didn't call. Yeah, I think that played in Allen's favor, but I think Allen being such a unit that they are, their depth, and the fact that like the game was, they let them play. Yeah. I just thought dynamic just didn't have enough. Again, I feel like when they didn't have another interior threat, like just like one thing Amari does is he just plays so hard and he tries to block everything, dunk everything. I think that presence alone just was missing, especially in a fast-paced game like that.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that and your only biggest Toombs, and Marcus Spears just wasn't ready yet to play in that.
He's young.
Time.
He's young.
Yeah.
I mean, he's young.
Yeah, I thought his second game was a lot better than his first, but it just was a little too much for him. And it's just hard. It's just hard when you don't have a true point.
I think you're gonna have to holler at Ronnie Flores for us over there on the West Coast with Ball is Life and tell him, man, Allen is for real. We got to move Allen up.
I had him 27.
Allen is for real. They are for real. They're not playing that. They are for real. They're not playing. And Trent Payne. I haven't heard that name. Trent Payne is back, and I think he gives them another, a little more extra on top of what they have. I didn't see him at the preseason Scholastic. He was still recovering from injury. But, man, like, what are we watching right now with Allen? Are they going to lose? I hate to do this to him, to jinx him, but are they going to lose a game? Like, I don't see it.
Depending on how so it's two things for me. I don't know their full schedule. If they're playing like more of a national schedule, it just depends on, because I think if you let them really play, they're a problem.
Big time.
But if they were to go out of state and they called it really tight, that could potentially be an issue. I don't see them losing. I think they're way too deep. I think they're one of the best defensive teams I've seen in the past 10 years.
I would agree with that statement.
Like
too.
They defend. Like I mean, we're talking like Ron Hall and Anthony Black level, like that.
Yeah, they're getting after you.
Defense, yeah, like they really defend. I don't think they lose. I think the only way they lose is if like they play in a game where it's called tight against a team that's like talented,
Yeah.
and then they're like a Trent Payne's in foul trouble or DJ's in foul trouble, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then I can
Yeah.
kind of see I can potentially still see them losing, but I don't think so.
And their point guard play. Shout out, I'm a little guard. I played as a little
Nehemiah,
guard.
yeah.
Shout out Nehemiah. He is holding it down. He's holding it and doesn't turn it over a lot. Controls it, makes it happen. He's not being exploited on the defensive end. Like they are. This is a great year for Allen Eagle basketball. You
My
need to
thing
get
is,
up.
with a performance like that against Dynamic Prep, what does that mean for the unsigned seniors recruitment? You know what I mean? Like, does it force coaches' hand for them to wake up, and especially these Division I schools that have roster spots to fill? Like, I'm looking at the Twins. You could take two dudes with significant upside who are being well coached, who know the importance of playing together as a team, and they have natural gifts. Like we talked about Antonio and his long arms. Antoine makes open shots. They both keep coming at opponents' necks. I mean, you get two dudes
I'm gonna tell you.
who
I'm gonna
make
tell
each
you.
other better.
I talked to Sip after the preseason scholastic, and I asked him specifically about their recruiting, and I know they're waiting. They have some D2s. He said, most D2s are in there. A lot of D2s go to Allen in it, but I know these kids want to play D1 basketball, and I agree with you. I think you can get a low level D1 should go in there and make it happen. It does. I mean, the big fella's going to North Texas, and you see what he can bring and the value he can bring to
Right.
North Texas. You got a couple other guys over there that should be getting the same shot.
And I think Sid was at Sulphur Springs, right?
Yeah. He was
yeah. I mean, like one thing about Sid, I give it to him, man. Like those guys are ready to play at the next level. Look at Xavier Cork, like Kingston Willis, who's two guys that have really good college careers. Yeah. I think though, like I'm with you, Brandon, on the Shannon twins. Like they're going to be ready. Like Trent Payne's going to be ready. Like
you know what those two dudes have in common, the Keaston Willis and Xavier Cork, they both were unsigned at this time their senior years. Mm-hmm. Those were spring signees. So
I mean,
the proof is in the pudding.
Y'all got to get to Allen. You got.
Yeah, you got like if you're a low to mid major school, you need to get in it because
got to make a stop.
Like we talked about, those guys probably struck out on some high school guys they wanted. If you come down to Allen, like they're just as talented, may not have been better than the guys you struck out on. Like that's my opinion.
And I want to say, I got to give a shout out to Daniel Wheeler for being woke. He's at East Central and he got the Twins on campus, and I know he's recruiting them. I'm not trying, like Division II schools, thank you for being woke. I'm just trying to make a point because I know somebody's going to hit my line saying, yo, what you doing? You're messing it up.
East Central can't say nothing. They have two players that I helped send over there. There's two players.
Listen, we only talking about the dudes though. We have to be honest. We have to be honest. We have to have the conversation. It's not a dig. It's not a slight, but they're performing at levels that, hey, D1 to me, they're D1 kids. They are. For sure. And I think one of the things that we haven't really talked about that they would bring to a team is that they understand team.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of D1 prospects understand themselves. They understand how they fit. Like I feel like that Allen is a unit. It's a team. And the kid who comes off the bench, I'm sorry, I cannot think of his name. Namdi. Namdi's another kid. He comes off the bench, but he'll start at any other program in the area. You know what I'm saying? And he'll get shots and he'll finish. He's athletic. He could they understand the concept of a team. They understand the concept of it being a unit. And our success would lead to my success. And I just think, you score 100 plus points in a 32-minute high school game to start the season, and then you have these big wins over teams that you kind of think, okay, they're going to lose these games. And it's like they're in full control. Like they're just in control. I think that's so valuable to a program at the next level. Coming in and contributing to the team, to the overall team of it. But we got more Allen later. We definitely got to talk about Dynamic Brennan, but the nightcap, South Grand Prairie and Parrish.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Yeah, I wasn't there either. I watched online before because I had to go to the Tyson fight, but I was watching online some.
Priorities.
Yeah.
He had his priorities in order that day, huh?
SGP came out hot. Got going. It was like 24-7, and then they got back. Then Parrish, Coach Ajami does a really good job with them. the twins, all Mulder twins. They do a
yeah.
really good job. They wear on you defensively, just using their size. Like they're just their strength, and they can move well laterally. I thought they gave Cam Carroll some issues. And then they came back and won, like the kid Sawyer, who really makes shots. They're a team that can really shoot the basketball. Like they had 3 guys that really shoot from the perimeter. Yeah. And then the Lucas kid, the big kid, he's getting there. I see more toughness out of him. I still think he still has a long ways to go, but he's a 226 prospect. He got size. He can shoot it from the perimeter, and I think he'll be a good down the road prospect. But the twins, they're just a handful. I think they can just get to the rim. Their jumpers getting better, but they rebound. They play bigger than their listed size, and I hope that they're in Brandon's top 10 when he announces it.
No, that's been announced. They're not in there.
Okay. They should have been in there. They should have been in there.
Yeah, that went live yesterday.
Well, they should have been in there, Brandon. Brandon, come on, man. Like they should have been. At least Antoine. I feel like Antoine for sure should have been in there.
Yeah, and Antoine Shannon's brother Antonio was in there.
Come on, man. Bro, when 2-0, Antoine had like a damn near double each game. I think
Antoine Shannon's brother Antonio went 2-0.
He said the other twin. He said the other twins made it.
Antoine Shannon's brother Antonio Allen.
They deserve it. I'm just saying.
I mean, everybody can't get in. Everybody can't go.
I'm saying they deserve one, especially Antoine Almada should have been in there.
Talk about your top 10. Talk about your top 10.
Rent is due, Ani. Rent is due December the 1st. So we all have bills to pay. So I hear you.
Yeah, I get it. What does that have to do? What does that have to do with your rent?
We all have. You
get a check on the 1st, don't you?
First and the 15th. You know what I'm saying? Shoot.
Oh my gosh, y'all are hilarious, man. But you had the other twin. Talk about your top 10 for a second. That's a good segue into the top 10. You did an article. 24/7 Sports top 10 from the Noble Classic.
Yeah, on Instagram, I try to separate myself from national coverage just by like headlining and highlighting some dudes that perform well at each event. And so, obviously, we'll crack on this, I guess, as this episode goes down. But Kingston Fleming's obviously was the feature player. He had the feature photo on it, and then
game-winning dunk. That's crazy.
Yeah, game-winning dunk is insane. And then the other 9 players. Let me make sure I can get this off dome. Malachi Booker, Caden Edwards. Let me keep going. Help me out. Somebody help me out. Antonio Shannon, Trent Payne.
I'm gonna go to your
Jackson Thompson, DeAndre Thomas, John LeBoy. I'm missing 2 players.
Dakari
Spear and Austin Gooseby. Thank you, Ani. Those are the 9 players, the other 9 players that I had on there, and deservingly so. I think they showed out, and with a high usage rate, they took advantage of the platform that Jay Fry presented, and it was fun watching them play, and it was good seeing them boost their stocks.
As much as I liked how John LeBoy did play that game, and I think he's someone we talked about, Brandon. His recruitment, like I feel like someone late, maybe in a higher level, would really take a look at him. He's getting better. His body looks really good. He's making shots. He can get to the rim. I like LeBoy a lot. I just feel that Allen's a tough matchup, but they lost pretty good. The only reason to me a standout to me is if the team goes 2-0. And he made that much of an impact for that team going 2-0, then I'll put him in front.
So here's the thing. This is the way I look.
We have to value winning too. Like to me,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean. Like I'm not saying he's I love LeBoy, and I'm not saying he's a better prospect than LeBoy. In my opinion, but I'm just saying in that event, he impacted winning more.
Absolutely. So this is the perspective I'm looking at it from. All right. Some teams were able to play 2 games. Some teams were able to play 1. So St. Francis came from Houston and played 1 game. And the 1 game they played were against the team that we're hyping up the most to make a climb on the national rankings. They played one of the toughest teams in the country by this podcast standards. And for the first half, they kept it within a game. And the dude who managed the game for St. Francis playing against Allen was John LeBoy.
Talk to him.
And he did
Let him know.
On our crappy layups, physically cut, guarding, making open shots. I mean, the dude has game. Yeah. And I just think he deserves his due on that.
And maybe it's not. And to me, I think LeBoy would be the one that you push out for that. But then you got to look at Antoine, I love these. He guarded Cam Carroll the whole game. Made life tough, especially in that second half. He guarded Austin Gooseby. How many points did Austin have? Austin struck. I mean, he had 10 points.
Let him know.
You see what I'm saying?
Know.
That's someone that we're talking about as a potential burger boy. And even though Austin could still get his shot off, he made it tough. And I'm just saying, like, that type of stuff. I'm just saying he should have been in there. I'm not even saying, kick LeBoy out. I'm just saying that's someone.
But you got to kick somebody out.
You got to kick someone out, maybe.
If he should have been in there, you got to kick somebody out.
And those guys in that 10 played really good. But I felt like he deservingly, for what he did on both ends, should have been in the top 10.
Like I said,
these are the conversations. And I just want to say, these are the conversations we have on the baseline. These are the conversations we have on the top. This is exactly like I kind of you both have a point. You both definitely have a point. But like Brandon said, there's only 10 spots. Right. There's only 10. So, but
I want to vouch for my guy, man. I want to vouch for my guy. Play long, vouch for him. I'm a vouch for him.
And LeBoy is on the verge. I think LeBoy is coming close to making a decision. I'm looking at Texas State, UC Riverside, and I believe Columbia.
He'll be a portal up kid.
Where you feeling? We got a crystal ball on that? Do we have a crystal ball?
I'm not one to ruin kids' moments, so I do know where he is going, but I just
okay, we'll leave it alone. I think
I want
Ani. Ani, where you think he's going? Ani, no, you know.
I'm not gonna say it, but to me, I think he'll be a portal up kid. Like, I'm not trying to trash the boy. Let me tell you, I think he will be playing high major basketball at some point in his college career. But I just felt like for that weekend, I like the kid that went 2-0.
Cameron Carroll at South GP. Where he's committed to
Rice.
He's committed to Rice.
Rice. Okay. Does he make an immediate impact at Rice? Do we think so?
It depends on their the personnel. This sport is so fluid. Rosters are ever changing. Yeah. And so I would like to say, just because of his foundational tools and his skill, like, he's naturally skilled. He's one of those dudes who came up in the game. He was middle school cold, if you know what that means. So you have to be really skilled to be middle school cold. Yeah. So he has just a natural feel for what he's doing out there on the floor.
Hold on. Do you have to be skilled to be middle school?
Or you could just be bigger than everybody else.
I'm about to say, we're in the age of the 16-year-old eighth grader. Like, you got kids that are just bigger, faster, stronger than kids, and then once they get to high school, it's like,
But he is a guard. He's a true point with a natural feel for it, and so I just think his background in the game will carry him on. I think that there's a chance he can earn some rotational minutes, but it really is up. It's a hard question to answer because, like I said, the sport is fluid. Rosters are ever changing, and we just don't know what Rob Lanier will have to work with next season.
I think he'll get minutes. I think because in the portal is not as easy to recruit to get guys to Rice because of the stats. So, like, he's going to – I think he'll have the opportunity to make an impact. Now, what he does with that is what he does with that. But I definitely think he'll have chances. He's not in a situation, and even just knowing how that staff is, like, they're going to give him the chance. Like, they won't try to over recruit him. I think they'll give him the opportunity. And then he just see what he does with that, but he'll have the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, cool. Day 2. You know what? Let's start at the bottom. Go back up to the top. Duncanville in the Colony. Bug. He went crazy.
Yeah, he went nuts. 38 points. Responded well, like Dakari, like just going crazy. Yeah. Offensively, and then he just responded by just scoring. Like, one thing about Bug, I love his confidence. He's such a worker, like, off the court. He puts so much time. So when people are like, man, why did he take that shot? And it's like, bro, he's probably shot that shot thousands.
Right.
I was gonna say he shot it thousands of times.
Like he practices those shots, and that's why David Peavy lets him shoot those shots. But man, from 3, he's so fast with the basketball. You just can't keep him in front. Like, I mean, Bug is just such a tough, confident shot maker. I think he's someone that had a chance to be an all-league guy in the Big 12, during his college career. He's good. I think he have opportunity. I know Darren Peterson's going to Kansas, but he have a chance to be like, freshman in the year, the conference newcomer, like whatever that accolade looks like. I think he'll be in contention for that.
Absolutely. I
Brandon,
want
what
y'all
is
to
he?
like. No, go
Go
ahead,
ahead, go
Charles.
ahead, go ahead. No, go ahead, go ahead. Where you going?
Well, I want y'all to think about like the Lancaster guards when it comes to Bug, Wade Taylor, and Mike Miles. Not saying that they play the same, but I just want you to think of like certain aspects of their game that kind of translate to what kind of are similar to what Bug brings to the table and why it could translate to TCU and the Big 12. When you think of Wade Taylor, you think of speed and you think of scoring. So
Right.
Bug provides that, and we've seen Wade Taylor, produce for A&M and be the best player for A&M for the past 3
Now
years.
he's shooting from the half court. Now Wade is shooting from half court
And
now.
Bug is capable of doing that, as we know,
And
right?
he's doing that right now. Yeah.
And so then like, let's look at Mike Miles, somebody who goes to TCU where Bug is headed and gets the green light from day one, gets the ability to play through freedom and play through mistakes in Jamie Dixon's system. So you combine those two aspects and they are similar to what Bug is bringing to the table to Fort Worth. I think you got somebody who, like Ani said, could be an all-league guy and probably have an All-American chance with the freedom and the usage rate that he projects to have at TCU. I think that this is one of the more perfect fits nationally, and I think Bug will take advantage of it. And then also, I forgot about the factor with Wade and Mike Miles. They've both been on the scene since they were in like 5th, 6th grade.
Right.
Like everybody has known them to. And the same with Bug.
Yeah.
Bug was dropping 60 points as a middle schooler. So all of that stuff – kind of culminates and sums out to somebody who can be really productive in the college game.
Yeah.
Dakari Spear, he had 40 plus that game, right?
He could have had 60. No, I'm not joking with you. Like if Duncanville didn't go zone, he was going to get close to 60.
Oh wow.
Like that's how 3-point shot was on. He was getting to the rim. He was making tough shots inside, the pull-up jumper, getting to the free throw line. If Duncanville did not go zone, I felt like it was definitely was going to get 50. He was going to be pushing 60. Like that's how tough it was to guard him one-on-one. It was just he was getting whatever the hell he wanted. It was let me say something, like watching Bug and watching Dakari, and then we're going to get with Kingston. To see stuff like that, and Charles, even though I know you've been out for a little bit, but you've seen these type of duels, you've seen these type of players. Those guys, I ain't putting no pressure because I know what their goals are. They'll be in the NBA. Like they'll have an NBA shot. They're going to be in the radar. Though it was like, to me, I thought those last 2 games I saw 3 pros.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I thought I saw 3 pros. Like, I don't know what it looks like at the end. I just felt like if they just stay on the track that they're going, I saw
they're
3
on
pros.
right now. Yeah.
I saw 3 pros.
I was, I saw Bug young when he was very young as a freshman, kind of more just catch and shoot stuff at Duncanville. And then obviously, like you just said, I was out. So coming back to it, he's actually kind of like, I wouldn't say he's a different player, but he's just added on so much to what I saw as a freshman. But in talking to him after the preseason Scholastic, he was definitely like, he's focusing more on being controlling the pace, being someone with the ball in their hand, making it happen. Mm-hmm. That's scary to me. That's because he's already nailed down. I can score the basketball. I can score it from all 3 levels. I got mid-range, I got threes, I can get to the rim. I'm fast. I'm in transition. He's a blur in transition. He plays through contact. He wears a chip on his shoulder. I mean, someone who has it, and I would say he has it all. Playing at Duncanville, that's a badge of honor, already. But TCU, you got it. Word on the street is you got a nice NIL deal at TCU, but he's getting better and better and better. And like you said, he's in love with the process of getting better. And a lot of kids where they would kind of get off, oh, I'm going to TCU. I got this, I got my money, blah, blah, blah. Like he wants more and more and more and more. And it, like you said, I think at the end of the day, those, hold on, who's your 3rd prospect as far as a pro though?
Kingston Flemings.
Yeah. Oh God.
The Kingston.
Yeah, because he mentioned both games.
Yeah. I had the Kingston.
How do you win a game? How do you win a game at the buzzer on a dunk? And the highlights are all over Twitter. Instagram, and everywhere. It was contested for a second. Like you got hard defense for a second, and then it was like, oh, okay, well, and then you just go up and
ushered them to the rim.
It seems like it. It does. It definitely seems like it was like, that old Pro-Am 30 and over league defense. Like, we're gonna play some D for like the first 3-4 seconds. Like I'm being serious. I'm not taking a shot. I'm just saying, like watching it, either Kingston Flemings is that good, or it was just like we'll resist for a little bit and then boom, we're gonna finish it.
Yeah, I think. Well, shout out to Cody. Cody got mad at me at the Balls Live podcast because I felt like we had him at 30, and I said they're going to drop down. I like that. He called me out on that. I like that shit. I ain't gonna lie.
I like the fact that he listened to it, took it to heart, and told
Yes,
us.
and I was on. Hey, listen. Shout out to me because I was in the San Antonio Brennan board, like the bulletin board. Like, hey, we took that personal. Like, we're coming at everybody. Like,
Right.
I was on the Brennan bulletin board. I appreciate that. Like, I made it.
So hold on, y'all had Brennan high.
We had him 30, and so Chelsea
Oh.
Hopkins asked me, who do I feel like from 15 to 30 could drop? And I said, Brennan.
Yeah.
And I said, well, they don't have a true big. I thought Delano Tarpley, him being out, could potentially would have hurt them. And he went up to me. He was just like, yo, he said, we're going to drop on him. Man. He said, we're going to drop. He said, we had that on the board. We had it on the board. I was like, hell yeah. Like, I was on the board.
I like it, man. I mean, obviously, this is all opinion. It's opinion. It's all opinionated.
Right,
I mean, we have history. We've seen it before.
That.
Yeah, no, that's dope. But Houston gets a good one. Houston gets a really good one, Brandon.
I think I mentioned in my article how obviously we know Kevin Sampson doesn't play any games, right? Old school mentality, and what he does works. Crash the bigs to the glass. Houston shout out to my man Isaac Charter with 24/7 Sports. He gave me the stats. Out of 364 Division I teams, Houston ranked 352nd in tempo and pace of play. So they're one of the more slower teams in the country. And a lot of it has to do with they rely on their bigs to crash the glass. Well, even with that aspect within Houston's system, I think one thing that game showed is that Kingston Flemings will naturally just up the pace of play for Houston.
Yes.
All of the points were at the rim, in transition, or at the free throw line. And it was a whole lot of – it was a dunk fest. It was a dunk fest. And, Finkelstein has mentioned this, my coworker, and a lot of these dudes were mentioning it on the sidelines when I was watching the game. He dunks it on the way up, and he's still elevating as he's putting the ball through the rim.
Right.
So
you can see that on the film, yeah.
It's pretty insane. And, back to the transition points that I was talking about, he had so many points in transition. A lot of it came off of his attention to detail defensively. I think he guarded the ball with a level of engagement that kind of separated himself from the rest of the players at the event, no matter which day, no matter which game. And I think that's him really preparing to play for Kelvin Sampson because he knows he knows what Sampson demands from his point guards and from his players as a whole. And so, he was locking up, forcing turnovers. And obviously the passing aspect was there. He's one of the more better passers in the country. He's an excellent player at threading the needle and hitting cutters, getting into the lane, kicking the ball out. And he does so with a level of confidence and a level of strength that just lets you know that he's ready to take on any challenge. And he is serious about this winning business. You know what I mean? He's going to be on a senior year tour. I checked, I was trying to see what the coverage would look like out in the Northeast. And I think Brennan is going to the National Hoop Fest to go face off against some team. I mean, they want that national smoke.
Yeah, they want that smoke.
Right. Kingston Flemings, Kelvin Sampson was on video talking about after they got the deal done, like what the Cougars are getting out of a player like him. And they talked about his competitive fabric and how his mental makeup. I mean, he's really all about winning. And I think that's a perfect match, for what the Cougars are trying to do now and long term.
But I to go back to that last play, I think that was a really good action that Cody ran. It was where they kind of had the misdirection where they brought it to one side, did the handoff, and then Kingston got it back and he got the switch that he wanted. So we talked about the Olay, basically it was like the Olay defense he went through. Well, they switched on that. They switched on that, and that was really what they wanted. So, right. And then that allowed him to get to the paint and finish. So I thought just the action that they ran, the kind of run some clock off, and then okay, boom, we're going to get it for Kingston ISO, and then we got the player that we wanted to guard him. That I thought they did a really good job. And for Kingston recognized that too. Like when Kingston saw, he's like, okay, yeah, okay.
And his mental makeup in that game was really strong. I know I watched his team get knocked out by Stony Point last year. Mm-hmm. And I think Kingston missed anywhere between 5 to 6 free throws in that game. And then we see his 48-point performance this past weekend, and he's just – and maybe it's a whole rhythm thing because he took over the game. So, we're all former players here. When we're in rhythm and our mind is set on killing, it's easier to knock down free throws. Nothing is really bothering you, but just the composure to make big time free throws, put his team in a position to win, and then get the job done. It's just a testament to how he's built as a player and what he can become long term.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man, dope event, Noble Classic, 10 out of 10. Hospitality, the games, it was a great event, and yeah, the gang was all there sideline. We was all there cutting up, talking about it. It was great. The Hoop DFW 20, my rankings are all messed up. Everybody's lost one. Like it, we'll have to come back. I have to come back maybe Friday. I don't know. I really have to sit down and look at it because I thought we had it a certain way two Mondays ago or whenever we did that episode, and now it's just like, yeah, the only staple is Allen. Allen is
Right.
they're the only staple right now. They're number one, and I don't think anybody else has anything else to say. When nobody can say anything else about it. So, but moving forward, where you guys at, Brandon? Where's your next event?
Wait. We got to talk about this Parrish versus Melissa game.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
We have
start off.
And then yeah, let's go.
Parrish versus Melissa game, because I'm not going to let me walk out here without talking about this Parrish team that is about to go back to back. I'm over here leaving twins off a top 10, as Ani would say. So let me talk about this group. We talk about Allen being a unit. There were two other private schools at the event that are units. All right, St. Francis. Now, people probably didn't see it just because Allen is
the first half was really good. First half was good. And those players have played together for 4 years now. Corey Sion, John LeBoy, Nigel Walls, and Omarion Harvey. They're coming for blood. I think that's TAPS 4A. Don't count it on it. I know it's a tier below.
St. Francis 4A? Okay.
Yeah, they should win another state title.
Yeah, I think it's the class below Parrish. Now let's get to Parrish. They're a unit in their division as well, and I have to talk about them so I don't get so people don't.
You don't have to talk about it. You can.
No, I'm talking about them.
Just say Ani called you out. Just say Ani called you out. Just say that.
I am talking about them.
Right.
That's what brought you to the table.
I'm talking about them. First, shout out to Justin Lavorne because he trains half of the team. That's my high school teammate, one of the best shooting trainers in the DFW. I had to plug him because he trains half of the team, and those boys came to play. They have a guard named Sino who can get a piece of the paint whenever he wants and locate and make shots. They have Sawyer Batts, who Ani mentioned earlier, who caught fire from 3. And then they have Hudson Lucas, somebody who can play inside. Even though he's not comfortable his body with the physical limitations yet, he's still trying to learn how to develop his game inside and out. His size definitely is a factor, especially at that TAPS level. And then when you factor in the twins, these twins are workhorses. And when I mean workhorses, they play with a high motor on both ends of the floor, and they're connectors for that team. They just have a natural feel for their personnel. And, when the scoring opportunity comes, they know how to convert in a translatable fashion and in a way that really they're not forcing action. They're team-oriented, and this team is a unit. Like I said, St. Francis is a unit, Allen is a unit, and Parrish is a unit as well. And I could see them going back to back. And it was just good seeing players play for one another. I was looking at the bench. The bench was hyped up every time they made a defensive player, every time that they scored. And I like the coaching staff as well. They have a lot of adults that you could just tell spread positivity amongst that group. Yeah. And so I'm looking at those 3 teams, especially Parrish in that Melissa game and how they bursted that game wide open. It was fun to watch. And yeah, that's all I have to say. But we weren't going to leave here without
so basically what you're saying is you had to redeem yourself because Ani got on your ass. I got you.
I wasn't going to just let y'all walk out here because I had something to say.
There you go, Ani. There you go.
Oh, man, I ain't trying to hear this.
There you go, Ani. He got on your ass and you had to say something.
Man, December
no,
1st,
Parrish. I don't see anybody beating Parrish. I don't see anybody beating Parrish. I don't. They are.
Hey, Michaels will be good. That'll be a good one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know too much about St. Michael's. I know Faith Family handled them up really good at the beginning of the year. So wasn't that St. Michael's? Yeah, that was St. Michael's.
Yeah, St. Michael's. Yeah.
They handled.
Dynamic. I think Dynamic beat them pretty good.
Yeah. So they, but it'll be a good game. We'll see if it goes as far as. State championship TAPS, but no, Parrish is sneaky. They've won. Who did they beat? They beat Crowley. Didn't they beat Crowley?
They beat Kimball.
They beat Kimball. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's who they beat. They beat Kimball.
Yeah.
And we've all watched Kimball, full of athleticism, full of pressure, full of speed, and for them to win, and then Kimball has. You got J12 going to Vandy. You
Amari
got
Wesley.
Lance. You
Was
got
Amari Wesley
Lance.
hurt though?
He was hurt
He's
that
back.
game.
He's back now. He's back.
Yeah,
He hit
he didn't play that game. Yeah.
yeah, he hit a M1 over Duncanville to win. Like they got dudes. They got high major dudes in the building. And Lance to me is a high major dude. Translates to a very good 3-and-D player at the next level. I think he's going to be very good. But for Paris to come out and beat Kimball, it's like, whoa, hold on now. But I think you're right. They're a unit. You know, they're it's everybody. It's not just one player, having their moment. But I'm glad you were able to redeem yourself though, because Ani tore your ass up.
There was no
Ani tore
redemption,
you up.
Charles.
Ani
There
tore
was
you. Ani tore you up.
there was no
We need to
redemption,
do. We
Charles.
should do like on around the horn, have a battle round, and and I'll be
I'm
the
down
count,
for that.
and I'll be the counter. I'll be the counter because Ani tore your ass up
Yeah,
one
no,
zero.
there was no redemption. Y'all were finna let me walk out of here without talking about Parrish versus Melissa, and that's the game where I can really spread my knowledge.
Yeah, there we go. No, y'all, this has been a great show. It's been a good one. This is a good episode. Noble was a great event. I had to do life, man. Had to be an adult, do my adult responsibilities on Saturday. But it was a great event. Definitely be back for year 2 if he decides he wants to do year 2. That was really good. And now we're off to. I'm pretty sure I'll see you guys at Thanksgiving Hoop Fest. Will y'all be there? I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, be there. This Thursday, I'll be at the Texas McDonald's Invitational in Houston, Pasadena.
Okay. Yeah.
Then Friday, Saturday, I'll be at the Circuit event. That event out in Prosper. I know Brandon, you probably at Texas Invitational, right?
No, I'm chilling. Y'all ain't seeing me. Y'all ain't seeing me. Y'all, I might be at Jim Hicks RCS.
Okay.
Sports
Shout out Jim Hicks.
Just to get a taste of some Houston players, but nah, y'all ain't seeing me.
Yeah. Just know when we see you at Hoop Fest, it's back on. It's back on. We're holding you accountable. A lot of people are like, they want the national writer scout connection, and it's like Brandon's been our friend. Like for me, he's like a little brother. Like really, he's been like that to me since he came around. But yeah, we're holding you accountable to the stuff you say nationally because we're.
At the end of the day, this is what people have to realize. Like these parents and kids probably hit my line talking about they want my perspective just because national evaluating and stuff like that. I get paid by 24/7 to figure out where the top kids in the country go to school. Yeah. So my job really isn't based upon like evaluating you for 24/7. My job is figuring out like if you're a 4 or 5 star kid, where are you going to college? Right. That's what pays the bills for me. So when you're coming at me looking from a scouting perspective, looking for my take from a scouting perspective, trust me, thank you. Just lets me know that I work to a place where my words actually mean something. But at the same time, the things that pays my bills, is the intel. You got to let me know where these kids are going to school.
Right.
You have other, media members locally that can take care of you from an evaluation perspective. Me, it's just 24/7. When I have that title, it's strictly for me as a recruiting analyst, me trying to figure out where Dakari Spears is going to commit.
But Brandon, you are also an evaluator. So I mean, very much like so, like you're still an evaluator. So that is and your company, even though you do get paid to find out where the 4 or 5 stars are going, y'all do kind of have a say on who the 4 and 5 stars are.
Right.
Very true.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like obviously they play their way and then it's proven.
Absolutely.
But
And if you're a player or a parent who thinks your kid is a 4 and 5 star and they're not it, trust me, we'll get to it. But if they're not on that list right now, trust me, we're gonna watch them. We're gonna be out there saying it. And if they're never on that list, well, damn it, they weren't good enough.
They weren't good enough. And I think that's where it comes from the value. Because Brandon, you do have an eye. Like you know what you're looking at.
For sure. I wouldn't have you on the show if you didn't. I swear.
Yeah, right.
It would just be me and Ani.
But you know what you're looking at, Brandon. So even though that is what you get paid to do, you do really know how to evaluate what you're looking at. I don't care what anyone else says.
I appreciate that.
Now
I just need that out there.
Ani got to give you a compliment sandwich now because he tore your ass up earlier. So now he got to come back and make You know, Ani, a former coach, he just got done with his coaching career, so he's got to, he got to put the compliment sandwich, good,
Look, at
bad,
the end of
ugly.
it can only be 10, Ani. It can
No,
only be
no,
10.
but see, I'm glad we're having this conversation and we're joking about it. It's all love, but that's how hard it is.
Yes.
Like we had a situation after the Pangos All American camp. I mean, the freshman sophomore camp, where a parent came to me and asked me about why their kid was left off of a certain All Star game. Now they were playing in the top 60 game, and then you're asking me about the top 30 game. And my question to them was, who do you take off the top 30 game to put your kid in? Like, not being biased, take as far, remove yourself as a parent, ask yourself which guard, because there's only a certain number of guard spots, which guard am I going to take out of the top 30 game to put my son in the game? And I just think it's an opportunity. I just think parents sometimes they lose the focus on what's the goal. At the end of the
Right.
day, if we're in this for college basketball, the goal is a free college education. The goal is not to be ranked on a list. The goal is not to all of these things that appear good to social media. Because let's be honest, y'all, we've been wrong about dudes, and those dudes have gone further than what we can imagine. Case in point, Keaton Wallace. Keaton Wallace. Keaton Wallace was at Richardson High School. He was playing right next to Brandon Averette. They were good, but he goes to UTSA, which is a Division I school. They go over there, him and Javon Jackson from Euless Trinity, and they tear that league apart. Now, Keaton Wallace is what, 26? He's what, like 26, right?
Yeah,
So
I
you're
think so.
talking about, so he graduates college at 21. For the last 5 years, he's been overseas. He's been in the G League, and is that now he's having fun starring next to Trey Young, hitting shot. Development takes time. It takes
Absolutely.
time. And I don't think a lot of parents want stuff right now, and they
Yeah.
want you to, rank them right now. Like, I hate it when y'all know me. I don't watch middle school basketball. I don't watch middle school. I don't watch elementary school. I don't do it. And I hate it when parents come to me in high school with a ranking from you went to the so and so elite camp and you're ranked in the top 10 at an elementary school camp. Now you're telling me your son is a freshman in high school, not getting any minutes, not playing, or when he does play, he gets in, he makes all of these mistakes, but somehow I'm wrong based on a ranking from when he was dominating kids that he was bigger, faster, stronger than? No.
Yeah,
Let,
no,
let,
parents
let,
need to get real.
let's keep
They
the
Middle
just need
school
to get real.
rankings
I mean,
mean
like,
absolutely nothing. They mean
Yeah,
absolutely
because at the end of the
nothing.
day, like, okay, think about us as students. Like the colleges that we went to, they weren't looking at what we did in 8th or 7th grade. For you to be, college applicable, like they look at what you did from 9th to 12th grade.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
yeah,
it's the same way. Once you graduate middle school, all that middle school stuff, throw it in the bag. Now it's a clean slate. You have a clean slate to prove yourself. And for the most part, we talked about how when you're middle school code, how like things are, predicated upon your skill level, or if you're bigger and stronger than everybody else. Now,
right.
when you become a freshman, the game favors those who are taller, those who have long arms, and then those who have a skill and feel that translate. I mean, like it's just
Yeah.
the slate is different. The evaluations are different, and it's at a higher scale, and it's at a scale that translates long term, not only to college but even further. And
Right.
so parents just need to get real. And a part
Yeah.
of it is just because they've had so many people around them, videographers, just people that really don't have a good grasp on what matters versus what doesn't.
That
And
don't even that I'm sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to add this. That don't even have those high level conversations. All three of us here can call high major, mid major, low major, JUCO. We can call college coaches right now.
Yeah.
And we can add, and if we wanted to, and sometimes we do, we can ask them specifically about a kid and say, what do you guys think about this kid? And parents can't have those conversations. And then they're connecting themselves to people that can't have those conversations. So you see videos, and I'm speaking specifically on the videographers because this is something that I do want to talk about, and it bothers me so much. You know, these videographers say, "Oh, he's the best in the city, the best shooting guard." First of all, there's clickbait. They want people clicking on their
Yes.
content. They want people looking at the
absolutely,
videos. They want people subscribing to their
That's how
YouTube
they get
channels.
paid.
Exactly.
absolutely.
But these guys aren't they don't have conversation they're not having those conversations. They don't have relationships within the business of speaking to scouts who've been doing it for 20, 30 years, McDonald's voters, national voters, college coaches, to actually get a real grasp on who's what, playing styles, knowing where a player would fit. There's so much that goes into it versus just getting your name next to a number on a piece of paper. we need parents to really be patient. You need to be patient. And two, understand that, hey, on Tuesday, if your kid isn't mentioned, they need to keep working. They like, we're not playing for names in new, well, I mean, there are news
Playing
stories,
for
but
write-ups.
we're not
I
playing.
mean,
Exactly. That's not what we're
just
doing.
it's just goofy behavior. Like, you don't get mentioned, so what like, just keep playing, man. Like,
Now
just
you
keep
mad at me.
play
It's
this
such a
game to
long.
have fun.
It's such a long game. And then Charles, when you talk about Keenan Wallace, honestly, like that example alone, and there's several, if just within the city, nationally. Like, look at some of these freshmen that are having really good freshman season so far that didn't get all this, but they're still playing good. They don't care. They don't care now that they didn't get any of that in high school.
Right.
They're just, but it just takes time. Just develop, keep playing. Like,
Right.
middle school rankings don't matter. Elementary school rankings don't matter.
They don't.
If you get better, at the end of the day, the cream always rises to the top, right?
Yeah.
I hate I hate it actually when parents say that and then they get so upset at the now. Well, if he's going to rise, he's the cream at the top at the end of the day, then don't worry about the now so much. Just worry about the development. And
Andrew
I think
Jones.
it's just videographers. I love videographers. Like, I saw any stuff. I have videographers, so I'm not trying to shade none. Majority of them don't have, like you said, conversation with high, mid, low major guys, NBA scouts, Sears ones, like none of that. You see what I'm saying? So don't take what they say, oh, he's the next Wemby or he's the next so-and-so. That's all for them to get views and to get paid. Listen, that's your hustle. That's cool. I ain't mad at it. But don't take, that's not the gospel. You know what I'm saying?
It's not. And be prepared for someone to disagree with that.
Right.
That's my thing. It's because at the end of the day, it's all our opinions. And as much as we have eyes and we can see the game, so we're gonna be closer than more so than we're gonna be far apart. But there's guys that you may like that I'm not high on, and there's guys that Brandon may like that I'm not high on, and vice versa. But it's just about being like, keep the main thing the main thing. Like, just keep the game the main thing. At the end of the day, it's free education. But, I said this name a minute. Andrew Jones. Andrew Jones played for Texas Express, was at Irving MacArthur, and nobody really knew who he was. They knew he was a good player for Texas Express, but it wasn't until, like, in terms of cream rising to the top, he played that summer with Pro Skills, and Marquise got injured. Marquise Bolden got injured. And oh my God, here comes Andrew Jones.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. McDonald's All-American, University of Texas. Unfortunately, he got sick. He was diagnosed with was it leukemia? I believe so. But he was diagnosed. He was sick. But look at him now. He's overseas making money as a pro overseas. Like, we all know Andrew Jones was an NBA player. He's a pro. But things happen in life, and I think that's what a lot of parents don't understand or they don't take into account. There's always detours on roads to success. There's always a detour, but the reality is we got to stay on the road. You know what I'm saying? So, but
I would like to say that I was on the, I spent 6 months of my life getting fed those buckets by Andrew Jones.
He was, hey, Ani, he was getting tortured at practice. You understand? He would call me after practice. So I haven't hit a jump shot in 3 months.
I'm like, I found, how most basketball players, when the ball goes through the net, that's how they feel they scored. I felt like I scored whenever I got by the first line of defense. Yeah. If I got to the rim, I'm just happy. I'm like,
you're good to go.
And then it wasn't until I got the shot off where Jericho Sims or Kai Jones is volleyball swatting my stuff back at me. I mean, like, but Andrew, that was a leader.
He's a dude.
And the NCAA owes him so much NIL money. It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's ridiculous. He's forever a dude. Forever going to be a dude. He's legendary, but yeah. But man, that was a good episode. I think we should do this kind of more often. We'll talk about that offline. Shout out to everybody.
Brandon, if I felt like I bullied you, I apologize.
No, they don't apologize. No. Okay. The little brother is fighting for his life right now. Man, but that was a good show. Shout out to everybody watching. 215 viewers. Y'all been sticking with us for a while. We appreciate it. I'm Charles Campbell, hoopdfw.com. Brandon Jenkins, 24/7 Sports. Ani Umana, ISO Ani, 5-State Hoop Report. He's throwing events, doing his thing. We'll catch you guys next time, but I'm pretty sure you'll be seeing us soon. Have a good one.
Peace.